of years, the band Coldplay has enjoyed a lot of success. But it wasn't really until this year that they just hit the big time and really exploded as they won 2 Grammy Awards for Best Rock Album of the Year and Best Song of the Year for Viva La Vida. The Spanish Viva La Vida translates literally word for word as live the life. Viva La Vida. But that doesn't translate well into English. And the sentiment in Spanish is more like long live life. Long live life. And so the meaning of this phrase, Viva La Vida, is more akin to the more familiar phrase in Latin, Carpe Diem. Seize the day. Seize the day. Well, the inspiration behind Viva La Vida is documented. It came from a painting, a self-portrait done by Frida Kahlo, which you should be seeing here. And she's an acclaimed Mexican artist who lived from 1907 to 1954. And if any person that I know or have read about lived a Job-like life, it was this woman, Frida. Job is a person in the Bible, some of you maybe heard of him, who lived a life where at one point there was tremendous suffering and where he essentially lost everything. Well, Frida could give Job a run for his money when it came to human suffering. Here are just a few of her life's lowlights. At the age of 6, Frida contracted polio, which left her right leg permanently disabled. At the age of 19, the bus that Frida was riding in struck a car. It was a terrible accident, and Frida's spine was broken 3 places. Her collarbone, 3 of her ribs, her right leg, her right foot, plus her pelvis was broken in 3 places. And like I said, this is a self-portrait. And you can see from her back that her spinal cord is exposed. The flesh is pulled away, and there are these pain pricks with blood coming out of them all along. Rather gruesome in a sense. Continuing on with her life, the doctors told her after her miraculous survival of this accident that one of the consequences of being in this accident was that she would never be able to bear children. Later, when she was married, she conceived twice. And because of this pre-existing medical condition, the children were aborted. They had to be aborted. And she had to live with the scars of that, the emotional scars of that her entire life. Throughout her life, Frida was in constant pain. And she endured multiple surgeries. Eventually, her right leg was amputated because of gangrene. At any rate, Chris Martin, the lead singer of Coldplay, was at an art gallery and he saw this painting, the one that you're looking at right now. And knowing a little bit about Frida Kahlo's life, he was struck by the boldness of this painting because juxtaposed against the pain and the reality of the fractured, broken spinal cord is this statement at the bottom which Frida wrote in yellow, Viva la vida. Long live life. Long live life. In spite of all her suffering, in spite of the pain that she had to live with on a daily basis, Frida was somehow able to write Viva la vida at the bottom of the painting as a subscript of her life. Long live life. And it was the inspiration behind this painting that became the album title of Coldplay's most recent album, Viva la Vida. And essentially the overall message of the album is this, that life is precious. Life is so very, very precious. And life is so short. Those of you who know the album know that's a direct quote from one of the songs. Life is so short, so let's make the most of it. Let's not waste any of it. But it's so easy to do, isn't it? It's so easy for us to coast through life. We have this thing called a day and a daily routine that we go through, and we have a weekly routine, and many of us have a yearly routine. And we get into coast mode. And we live our lives as though we have no overarching theme or goal or objective. It's just kind of live life instead of long live life. Tomorrow, Elizabeth Allen, a member of this church, will be undergoing surgery to remove a cancerous tumor that is the size of a grapefruit. She goes in tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We prayed for her in the prayer circle. We've been praying for her for weeks. I would encourage you to pray for her as well. And because the tumor is wedged between her kidney and her spinal column, it's a very delicate surgery, and it will require a minimum of 5 hours and potentially as many as 8 hours or more, depending on whether the cancer has worked its way into the muscle tissue, which we've been praying that it hasn't. Elizabeth is in my home group, and as soon as she was diagnosed, she was given a book as a gift to help her in her fight against cancer, and she was kind enough to purchase that book and to give it to different members of our group. And so I have this book. It's called A Reason for Hope, Gaining Strength for Your Fight Against Cancer by Michael S. Berry. And I've been using it as part of my personal devotions, and this week I was impacted by this passage. The diagnosis of cancer sends a clear message. Now is the time to get it right. This time in your life right now presents a tremendous opportunity. At no previous time has there been such pressure and urgency to make the changes that really matter, changes that you'd always intended to make, but never got around to. The time to delay, to put things off, is over. Cancer has a way of riveting a person's focus beyond the many usual distractions and onto the important things. Don't waste this precious time experimenting, desperately grabbing at one thing and then another. This is the time to embark on a new path, the right path, and this book will help you find and stay on that path. And isn't it distressing that it takes so often a diagnosis of something as serious as cancer to get us to the point where we recognize that life is short and that time is precious and that we don't have the luxury of coasting and that we need to make the most of every opportunity that we are given, that we need to focus on what's most important in life instead of allowing ourselves to bob rudderless in a meaningless existence. Well, I recently conducted a physical, if you will, of River City Church. And I discovered something akin to a cancerous tumor. And I am dead serious. This body is not functioning as God designed it to function, at least in one significant area. And to the naked eye, I think that River City, from the outside perspective to a casual observer's perspective, it is a healthy church. However, lurking below the surface is this thing that we need to deal with. We need to deal with it today, this morning. And the physical I conducted revealed that as a church we've grown by nearly 10% since September. That's the good news. The bad news is that all of that growth took place between September and our fall launch, which happened at the very beginning of October. Since October, we've plateaued. We would expect that beginning October, when cottages get shut down and people get into the routine of school again and life takes on that pattern, that we would see growth in October and then November and then through our Let It Be series and then through our Words Kids Need to Hear series and on into February, but that hasn't happened. We flatlined since October. 5 months of no growth.